My name is Steve Oleen. I'm the president and founder of What's in It for Me, LLC, or Wiifm, which is a loose acronym for What's in It for Me.com. In our podcast today, you're going to hear a lot of weird new words and phrases that we'll be bringing to the community, to the business community, and to consumers. One of those words is Apix, the Apix referral. We'll talk a lot about that. That's actually the product that What's in It for Me creates for salespeople and business owners. It's called an Apix referral. And over the next several weeks, we'll be talking a lot about the Apix. We'll also be talking about Wiifm networking, which is a method for people to take advantage of the Apix referrals that we produce for our business owners and sales partners, sales professionals. We'll also hear words like the maximum competitive effect. First of all, I'm a product of the sales industry. That's what I am. I'm a salesperson. I've been a career professional salesman ever since I got out of the Army back in 1970.
Not too long ago.
Good Lord, that's a long time ago. But anyway, I love selling. I took it very seriously. I learned it. I teach it. I was reasonably successful in selling products. And over all those years, all salespeople will tell you that there are parts of the job you absolutely love. You know, you love what you're selling because you know it's bringing something better to someone else's life. That's what salesmen really are supposed to be doing. We bring the news to the business community or to the homeowner about what's available to them that'll improve their life, improve their condition. My last job, I owned a small communications company and we sold data networks and pretty sophisticated telephone systems for business. And through all that, like I said, that's the fun part. But there is an aspect of sales that is kind of a pain in the rump, to be honest with you. And all salespeople know what this is. You know, it's the prospecting aspect of it. So, you know, prospecting, simply defined, is finding enough qualified people to tell your story to.
That is true.
And qualified is the key, isn't it? So the people you want to tell your sales story to are people who have an immediate need for your product or service. They have the authority to say yes, and they can afford it. Yes. So when you find that person, a good salesperson gets all warm and fuzzy inside and they get excited and they put their track shoes on and they're going to do everything they can to get in front of that person before they make a decision to buy from someone else. So that's really what our job is. And that is called prospecting. And there's all kinds of ways of getting in front of people, identifying people who are in your market. The worst of which, but what everyone almost has to do at some point in their sales career, usually throughout their sales career, is make those cold calls. You know, you're making lots of calls in the hope that you reach that one person that happens to be in the market for your product or service at the time that you call them. And they go, oh, whoops, we just lost the mic. By the way, Steven Spielberg is not behind this production, so we'll do dumb things like drop our mics on the table. So please forgive us. So at any rate, the cold calling, joining networking groups, knocking on doors, making phone calls, sending letters, following up after those pre-approach call letters, all those types of things are important. We have to do them every day. Today, the technology is pretty much taken over and people kind of really like the idea they can just send out a gazillion emails. I have always liked the cold call. I like meeting people face to face. I like knocking on the businessman's door as opposed to calling him on the phone. It's been much more effective for me for a lot of reasons. Number one, people are generally nice people. All people are.
That is true.
And when I'm just an email being sent to the computer, all they have to do is push a button and I go away. But if I'm walking in the front door and introducing myself, I'm always polite, and I'm always appreciative of their time. If they give me any time at all, I love it. And I ask them if they have a few minutes to speak with me. If they don't, it's not a problem. I ask when a good time to call back on them would be. But when you're face to face with someone, People are genuine with you. They'll be honest with you. And if there's even an inkling of an opportunity there for you, they'll let you know.
True.
Now, they may say, hey, give me a call back in 3 months. I have thought about what you're talking about, but I'm not ready yet. I love that.
Yes.
Because in 3 months, I've got a really good prospect to call on, and he's asked me to call him.
True.
So for me, cold calling was, knocking on the doors was a right way to go. Now, it's time consuming, and you're traveling, and you have to weigh that against, I can make 200 calls in a day on a telephone, and if I get one person to say, sure, give me a call next week and we'll set an appointment, that's something.
That's true.
But I've always found that just face-to-face is best. But regardless, how great would it be if you could eliminate, or if there was a process out there that took all of the burden of prospecting off the salesman's shoulders, 100% of it. That's what started to work its way into my brain, and I started thinking, there's got to be a way. There just has to be. With the technology that's out there today, with all these wonderful whizzy-wazzy things that you can actually do on the internet and with computers, there just has to be a way, short of artificial intelligence, where the little robot dog goes down the street knocking on doors for you. But there just had to be a way.
Yes.
And it just sort of dawned on me that there is a way. And that idea crept into my skull about 13, 14 years ago, and it just sort of settled in and started to fester and started to grow. And it could have gone really bad if it was like that old Star Trek series where the earwig crawls in there, starts
That'd be
to
the
grow.
Rathacon number 2.
Rathacon number 2. and it actually could have gone that way, because I was getting a little crazy about it. I thought that as soon as you start to think that something is possible, that is this huge, that it actually can replace the skill and the craft of prospecting for all salespeople, for all kinds of products and services, it sort of gets you excited.
Oh, yes.
So over the next few years, that's all I thought about. Now, I still had to sell telephone systems, and I still had to sell TED networks. I still had to get up in the morning and do my routine. But I knew that there was a solution, and that one day I would be able to wake up in the morning, stumble over and hit the coffee pot on as I stumble over to the computer and turn my email on, and it says, these are the 3 companies who are expecting you to call today. You've already been introduced. They already know what you're all about, the products you sell, and they know about you and the principles that you work by, and they're expecting you to call for an appointment because they're ready for your product or service. That's what the goal was.
Oh, yes.
And we did it. And we did it, and we call it what'sinitforme.com. And that's what this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be about not only my process, but also how it affects other salespeople in different industries, how it affects the consumer, whether he be in the home buying products and services like roofing or plumbing or new construction or bathroom and kitchen remodeling, but it also affects that business executive that needs to buy that $2 million corporate jet, or that needs to get that new high-rise building that they need as for their expansion, or for that sophisticated data network or the new roof on their building, all of it. It turns out that as we develop this process, it touches more than what I thought it would. All I was looking for was who's in the market for a telephone system. And it just turned into so much more than that.
Most definitely, most definitely.
So the other thing that we're doing is we'll not only talk to you about the buyers of products and services, or our potential customers, regardless of what product or industry we're in. So we'll talk about the buyers, we'll talk about the salespeople, but there's also a role to play for people who know about someone else's intent to make a purchase. And we're going to talk about them too. And we call them information partners. Because for the first time, we have taken the knowledge that everyone has about the intent of someone else to make a purchase, and we've monetized that. But we've also cleaned it up so that no one ever feels like they're telling a story behind someone's back. No one ever feels like you're ratting out a friend or a boss or someone because they're looking to buy something and you're going to report it. That's not the way this process works.
No.
The only people that we connect with, whether you're a salesperson or whether they're buying a product, are people who have committed to buying a product and are agreeing to take part in our process. And if they don't want to take part in their process, they just ignore the email or hit delete. True. But if they do take part, we've built up some very compelling reasons for them to be members of What's in It for Me and to take part in our process when they're purchasing. So that's what this podcast is going to be all about. It'll be Michael and me, and we will come from different venues. Today we're at the Brazen Irish Pub, which I love being here.
Oh, yes.
And I just might have one more small stout before I head home. But no, I probably won't. I think I'll just go ahead and continue with this cup of coffee. So listen, I want you to welcome you to the family. Do we have a method to get this out to the community? I mean, do we have a platform that this is going to be published on that people can go to?
Yes, I think we do. Well, would you like to tell us more about this?
No, you need to tell us about that because I'm not sure how to get there myself, but I'm learning.
Well, heading to, for the podcast, Rumble, and we also have a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is called Wiifm, Best in the Business.
Best in the Business, right.
And then Rumble is What's in It for Me. And both of them you'll be able to have access to watch Steve and I, Michael and Steve, to have these different opportunities of talking about what'sinitforme.com and other
and how to take part.
And how to take part.
And how you can benefit from taking part. So look forward to seeing you at our next podcast.